Welcome back, Metas. Some pretty big news dropped in the Once Human Discord yesterday, just after lunchtime for me. I missed it then because I was working on another video, but it explains how season wipes are going to work, how you're going to migrate your progress to either Eternal Land or a new scenario and a new season. There's information on PvP and PvE servers. I think there's going to be some people quite upset with how this works, if they weren't already upset with how season wipes or server wipes work. So let me just take you through it because it is very insightful for how this is going to play out. Right. What are the seasons and scenarios in Once Human? What is the long-term game plan look like? We hope to bring various survival gaming experiences so the game has a little something for everyone. Also, we'll keep making updates to the game so it's always exciting to play. That is why we've chosen to give this game multiple scenarios. A scenario is the gameplay theme of a server. Once Human's global launch in July offered two scenarios to play: the PvE scenario, Manibus, and the PvP scenario, Evolution's Call. In September and October, we're bringing in special events featuring new scenarios. The September scenario allows you to face confrontations among factions, so that sounds like PvP. And the October one will introduce you to an all-new map and challenge you to survive extreme environments. So that sounds like PvE, and this is kind of confirmed here in this little picture. So this was the launch, the Manibus PvE scenario. This is the PvP scenario, Evolution's Call. This is the launch scenarios. And then here we have in September, a PvP scenario. And it says, to be announced here, or to be confirmed the date, PvE scenario. So we assume this is the October one. So new PvE content doesn't seem to be arriving until October, but PvP will be in September. I'll explain more of that in a second. We are also working on scenarios featuring limitless PvP gameplay and longer duration. Additionally, a regular scenario that can be played all year round will be available in the future. That kind of sounds like a server and scenario that is persistent and you don't have to wipe your characters. Our plan is to release 4 new scenarios each year. Right. Each scenario is set within the time frame of a season, with the duration of a season varying according to a specific scenario. A season will be split into several phases based on the features of the scenario. This is how it works at the moment, right? We have the scenario and we've got little phases we click on, and we do objectives during each phase, and new parts of the map open up and all this kind of stuff. So this is nothing new at the moment. The in-game content will be unlocked gradually as your server progresses, ensuring that you always have something new to enjoy. Once you unlocked all the scenario content and the season has come to its settlement phase, you can sign up for a new scenario, take all your gains, and start a new adventure. Alternatively, you can stay on the same server until the settlement phase is over. This phase lasts for 4 weeks in our current scenarios. With seasons and scenarios, we are dedicated to delivering an engaging and captivating experience. This is the long-term game mode and we have envisioned for you. So what that means is, if you are like me and you started on Manibus in a PvE scenario and your server has progressed, you should be in week 5 right now, depending on when you're watching this video. And I think we're about to pop over to week 6 in the next couple of days. I have to check the time frame. But once we get through week 6, you will then enter the settlement phase, and you will have 4 weeks to remain in Manibus in the PvE scenario. So you're not going to quite reach October, and depending when it releases in October, there's going to be a bit of a delay before you get new content. You're probably asking, well, what happens after that 4-week settlement period? What happens when you only want to play PvE, you get to the end of the 4-week settlement phase, and there's no new servers to go into yet? Okay, well, it explains that. I think a little bit later on, so we'll get there. What are the differences between different scenarios? Different seasonal rules and objectives. In each scenario, you'll encounter unique seasonal rules and in-game objectives. For example, some scenarios may ask you to explore uncharted territories and secure rare deviations, while others will require you to form alliances with other meta-humans, survive in harsh environments, and combat ferocious monsters. In those scenarios, you'll have the option to either go solo or team up with other players, or even align with factions to compete for valuable supplies. Different in-game experiences. So this is also what's the difference between scenarios, right? New survival mechanics. Certain scenarios will introduce features that intensify the challenge of survival, such as harsher weather conditions or more demanding environments. You've probably noticed that the scenario for Manibus is very chill in regards to survival aspects. I think it's actually not a huge amount of like survival aspects in the scenario, which I actually like. I actually prefer the shoot and loot part of the game rather than like chopping down trees and like gathering food and stuff like that. But it seems like there'll be other scenarios where survival is tougher. Maps and areas. Some scenarios have a new map. Okay, so new maps. Enemy types and dungeons. Different scenarios may have special monsters. Configuring the right mimetic and gear build is the way to deal with different dangers and threats. Even the same scenario can present varied combinations of environments, bringing diverse survival challenges. And scales. The maximum number of players for each scenario will also vary. Okay. Okay, this is where it starts getting important. This picture's kind of not in the right spot, but this is just showing you the differences in scenarios, survival mechanics, new maps, new enemies and dungeons, the duration. All right, so they can go for different lengths of time and scenario size, so different amount of people on the server. Now, this is why everyone's kind of interested. How do I sign up in new scenarios? In the final phase of the current scenario, you can sign up for a new scenario and start a new journey right away. If you prefer, you can choose to not sign up to a new scenario and remain on the same server, continuing your exploration and battles for up to 4 more weeks. So this is that settlement phase. During this time, you can always sign up for a new scenario. So it seems like during those 4 weeks, if you just need a couple more weeks to finish whatever you're doing, finish your build off, get any outstanding materials. Like for me, I've got heaps of side quests I can still do. And that Stella will transfer with me, so I might want to just complete some quests before I finish that scenario. You can take a couple weeks, and then you could sign up for a new scenario. So you're not stuck there for the entire 4 weeks. If you need more time, you can stay in that scenario. If you haven't decided on which one to join when your server last phase is over, your current server will be closed, and your character will return to Eternal Land, where you can continue playing and sign up for the new scenario at any time. So after that 4 weeks, if you just remain in that server, it will transfer everything over to Eternal Land, and I'll explain how that works too, because it does give good information here as well. And then once in Eternal Land, then you can choose your next server and scenario. When a scenario is over, does that mean I will lose my in-game progress? No, we value the effort and time you put into this game. When a scenario is over, you can take away the rewards you've earned, except for some extremely rare cases and items related to scenarios and mimetics. However, to ensure that each scenario offers a complete gaming experience and allows all players to enjoy the game regardless of their progress, we have the following rules in place. Your character won't be deleted. Your character's name, body size, cosmetics, furniture formulas, friends, important materials, including Starcrom, Chrysogens, Mitso marks, silver keys, and more, battle pass progress and task progress will be forever retained. They will not be lost when you change from one scenario to the other. However, character leveling and mimetics are considered part of the scenario's experience and are closely linked to in-game pace and balance, so they will be reset according to the scenario rules. The weapon and armor blueprints, fragments, weapon accessories, mods, food recipes, and other important in-game progress resources of your character will be forever retained, and you can use them at any time in any scenario. The house blueprints, furniture formulas, and furniture of your character will be forever retained. However, when you start a new scenario, you would need to spend building materials to rebuild everything based on your house blueprints. We have to optimize the house blueprint feature for better formula capability, allowing you to quickly make your house blueprint a reality even without advanced materials. The way that I think about what you're going to lose and what you're going to keep is essentially the crafting side of the game is what you lose, right? Like you build your house, you lose that. Even when you craft guns, we'll get to guns in a second, but you're chopping down trees, you're making logs, you're getting ores, like those are the things you lose. But all the other aspects of the game that you grind for, like your blueprints, your weapon mods, your armor mods, all your recipes, like your food recipes, your furniture formulas, all that kind of stuff you'll keep. So a lot of the really grindy things are permanent, but more of the crafting survival stuff is not. You're just going to have to go get those materials again to recraft stuff. Right, I'm not too sure why these images are all out of place, but this is the sign up progress for the new scenarios. So choose a scenario and server. So this would have been when the game launched, create a character, plays a scenario, and then you get opportunity to sign up for the new scenario in the later phase of the current season. All right, if you choose not to sign up for the new scenario, this is probably going to be the 4-week settlement phase. You stay on the current server until the season ends, so it'll be after 4 weeks. During that time, you can either sign up for a new scenario and play on the new server, or you can choose not to sign up for the new scenario and it will transfer your stuff to Eternal Land, which I think we're slowly getting to. Regular resources, materials, medicine, ammo, and more you've obtained, armor and weapons you've crafted, deviations you've captured, calibration blueprints will be transferred to your Eternal Land and forever retained. There's a catch though, right? Upon entering a new scenario, you can bring multiple items with you as long as they adhere to the scenario's rules. However, please be aware that there is a limit to how many items you can bring along. This is to ensure that both new and veteran players start from the scratch, promoting fair competition in the new scenario season. Of course, regarding the design of these rules, we'll make sure everyone can bring their favorite content to the next season. As for energy links, due to their strong connection to the scenario pace and in-game trades, will be transferred to your Eternal Land after a season ends. They'll be converted to Astral Sand, usable for building your Eternal Land at a specific ratio. Right, so the weapon that you've crafted, right, you've calibrated, it's got a good calibration attribute on it, you've leveled it up. Same with all your gear, like you've got your gear sets, right? So you've like crafted these things, you've put materials into them. They're going to be sent to Eternal Land, and then you can bring some of it over with you using this special currency. Now, we don't know how much things are going to cost. Like, for example, I have a shrapnel build, you know, I have a lone wolf set, I have the beret, I have all the standard, like, you know, shrapnel build stuff, you know, the assault rifle with it. Can I take all of that? Or am I going to use all my currency on a single weapon? Like, worst case scenario is that you're going to have to recraft those things because you're going to keep the blueprint, but you're going to have to recraft it. Also be aware that there'll be, when you start again, you're going to be at like level 1. So you're not going to be able to craft the best gear and like, you're not going to be able to craft a tier 5 thing anyway and just start wearing it straight away. So you're going to have to go through those motions again of like leveling up before you can get back to what your build was before. But long story short is you're not necessarily losing it. It's going to go to Eternal Land. And then once we work out how much currency is going to take to bring over, we'll have a better idea with like, can you bring one gun? Can you bring 3 guns? Can you bring a whole gear set plus 1 gun? We don't know what that is yet. Items highly associated with scenarios and mimetic specializations cannot be transferred across scenarios. Mimetics will be reset based on levels, allow you to reselect mimetics and craft items according to a specific scenario and your play, right? So all your build crafting options, you're not going to have there. Like, you're going to have to go through the levels again to get your mimetic specializations, which is fine. Now, these 2 images, they just summarize everything I've just read to you. I'll leave join the Discord if you want to have a look at this again. It's in the game news section. Right, finally, how do I take items from my Eternal Depot into a new scenario? You have a certain amount of resource points before entering a new scenario. Each item you choose to bring into the new scenario will cost a specific amount of resource points. The required amount varies between items and can be checked in the game. The number of your resource points refreshes each time you join a new scenario. Right. So, like I said, we don't know how much points things are going to cost yet. We don't know if you're going to be able to take all your gear across, your weapons and your armor, or if you're just going to be able to take one or the other. Deviations are also going to be sent to your Eternal Land, so you're probably going to want to send a couple of the rarer ones across too. Like, you know, I've got the Atomic Snail from Prime Wars. I wonder how that works. Can you send PvE deviations into a PvP server? Right. My thoughts on this whole transfer scenario. I think the only thing that I would like improved, I don't know why only 4 weeks? If people don't want to move to a new server, they haven't finished playing all the content they want to play on the PvE server, why force them into creative mode, into Eternal Land, or force them into a PvP server for new content? Like, I'm going to check out the PvP stuff because I'm interested to see how it functions, and I haven't played it, and there's nothing else to do in the PvE server once I finish all that things off. But I also like do this for a job, and I've had heaps of game time, and I've played the game every single day. A lot of people are not going to be at that level and probably have a ton of stuff to do. They've still got builds to sort out. They've still got like things to craft, all that kind of stuff. Tasks to complete, side quests to complete. I'm not too sure. I think that's what people probably have the most issue with is getting kicked off. And not only getting kicked off, but not having anything to go to. I think it might be a bit different if the PvE new scenario, new content was like ready and raring to go. But it definitely seems like there's going to be a little bit of lag time. Even if you spend the last 4 weeks in your current server, you're still going to have a little bit of wait time until you get to October. And depending on when they release in October, you might even have another month or so of no real content. I think that's pretty dangerous for a player base. I'm not really interested in PvP in this game. I'm going to check it out to see if maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe PvP is fun. But I think a lot of people are probably also in the PvE category for, crafting survival MMO kind of game. So we will see how much the population takes a hit during that downtime. Let me know what you think down below. If you want me to cover a little bit more game news, make sure you leave a like and a comment, and I'll try to be on top of this stuff a little bit more because it is buried in their Discord, and we'll go from there. As usual, it's been a pleasure. This is Myelin Games. Peace.